It's a $10 bottle of wine. What do you want?
Welcome to our first episode of Over a Bottle.
Hi, I'm Paul Erdman. I'm friends with this guy.
Hey, I'm Jordan Reagan, and I'm friends with that guy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Today we're drinking Apothic Red. It's a blend from California. It said something about it on their website being a play on wine from the 13th century and the way they did it. But it's from like 2013, so whatever. But it's some sort of a red blend. I'm assuming there's Malbec in there. It's usually what they do, the go-to. But cheers.
Cheers.
To episode 1.
Episode 1.
Safety.
Safety.
And violence.
It's like the most recent episode of Star Wars.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Did they play it safe?
With the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Well, okay. This wasn't planned, but as long as we're talking current events, this is the current events section. Yes, they did play it safe.
Really?
It was almost like a rehash
I haven't seen it yet.
of A New Hope. And that's what this new movie was. Good movie, but they relied way too much on Star Wars fans being reminded that they're watching Star Wars. Yeah. Oh, C-3PO says something funny. Yay!
Got it.
R2-D2's beeping and spinning his head around.
Perfect. Yay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Han Solo is a swindler and a
He sure is.
scruffy looking nerf herder.
Nerfy looking scruff herder.
Yay! So yeah, but yes. Spoiler alert: women are powerful. How do you think about, or what do you think about the wine?
I don't mind it. I think it's pretty good,
It's
actually.
pretty good. Yeah, I like it.
I like it.
It's just your run-of-the-mill $10 wine, though.
For today's episode, Paul and I are going to be talking about, is the world, 2016,
Mm-hmm.
is the world a safer place than it was 10 years ago, 25 years ago, 50 years ago?
Quick answer: yes, no.
Okay, we're done. Great episode. Thanks everyone for
Tune in next week where we discuss.
Yeah, what's something that's been on your mind recently, or an event that you've thought about or looked at?
Probably safety for women. Women are probably less safe today than they were in the past. With the whole thing going on with Bill Cosby and the dozens of women that have stepped forward.
Does that upset you that America's, I guess, classic family father comes out and it turns out he's this huge, essentially serial rapist?
Yes, that upsets me greatly.
Yeah, I mean, talk to me about how you feel about that.
Well, it changes your whole perspective of things that you had set up when you were a child. You know, like,
Yeah.
these are the people I trust, and these are the people that I look to as examples.
Right.
You know, like, I wanted to be like Dr. Huxtable when I became a dad. Awesome sweaters. Is that his name? Huxtable? From the
Yes,
Cosby Show?
I hope so.
Sweet sweaters.
Yeah.
Really kind to my kids.
Yep.
And a lot of wacky faces.
Right.
Like, that's exactly what I was going to be as a dad. And, I mean, I would look at him, and I would look at, like, Family Matters, and look at Carl Winslow.
Yep.
He was another good example.
Right.
Luckily for him, all he's doing is just playing a cop in every movie he's ever been in.
Right.
So far, not a serial rapist.
Die Hard, right?
Die Hard,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And there
yeah.
was one other one, but I can't remember.
Sure.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
There's a really good meme out there, Carl of Duty. It's a Call of Duty game cover. That's
Perfect.
Carl Winslow. Anyways, yeah, I mean, it affects how I look at what would be a childhood hero. Yeah, and that's really scary to me.
Do you think that that's new, though? Do you think that that's new over the past 10, 15, 20, 25 years? Or do you think that this violence against... Or when I say new, I should say, do you think it's increasing? Do you think it's getting worse, this problem of violence against women?
The process for reporting it has changed so much. So we have the numbers to support that it is more violent towards women.
Right.
But is that because of how the data was collected
Sure.
previously? I don't
Sure.
know. But the numbers are there, and the numbers are kind of shocking.
Well, what does that make you do, if anything? I mean, do you change anything in your own life in terms of how you interact with coworkers, with your wife, with the people around you, or is it something where you're still kind of considering that and figuring that out?
Changing myself.
Sure.
And,
How does that change you, knowing that...
rape jokes aren't funny.
No.
They're just not funny.
They're not.
There was a time in my youth when I thought they were funny.
Right.
Because it could actually happen.
Right.
Now this is, 20-year-old me versus 29, almost 30-year-old me.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's how I have changed it in myself. And there's just some things that aren't funny.
Yeah, the language you use and the content you talk about.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I have some numbers that I did pull up. I compared the crime numbers over the decades. So I compared this past 10-year period, comparing that to the 1990s.
Sure. Yeah.
So compared to the 90s, this past 10 years, murder was down 45%.
Wow.
So apparently in the 90s it was okay just to go around murdering people.
I
'Cause that's
guess.
insane. Violent crime in general was down 43%. And then property crime is down 34%
Wow.
compared to the 90s.
Wow. I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, I thought that was super interesting. But then I looked at comparing this past 10 years to another, what was considered to be a high crime decade. Because the 90s are considered high crime, and I guess the 60s are also considered high crime.
Okay.
And so I compared the last 10 years to the 60s.
I wonder what they were doing in the 70s and 80s to negate that. I mean, a lot of
Yeah, I don't know, drugs.
a lot of acid.
Yeah, I don't know. They're all just kind of hanging out, not really in their minds.
Briefly forgot about violence as an
Right.
option.
I don't really want to hurt anybody anymore, man. I mean, unless you get in between me and my peyote. So the last 10 years compared to the 1960s, murder down 22% compared to the 60s. However, violent crime is up 55%
Wow.
compared to the 60s.
Okay.
So not murder, but still violent. So then I was confused by those numbers, so I looked into it further, and a contributing factor for murder being down but violent crimes being up is that rape is up 57% compared
From the
to
60s. Holy smokes.
So we are raping more now than I would assume ever, at least in recorded history.
The way you just said that makes me uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
yes, I understand.
That's messed up though, right?
Right, yeah, it's horribly, horribly terrifying, and I'm uncomfortable hearing that statistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you this then. Hearing numbers like that, what do you think is different now than, or different now compared to the 60s?
I am a feminist, and so I think the difference between the 60s and today is we've had at least 2 or 3 waves of feminism that have brought attention to the issues that women face, the struggles that they face with living in a patriarchal society.
Yeah.
I think that I wonder if it was happening less in the 60s or if it was just unreported or if it was even things like spousal rape, things like that would have just been, oh, this is what you're supposed to do as a spouse, as a baby boomer back home from the war. You know, our marriage isn't happy, but you're not going to leave me because where would you go? You know,
Right.
what would you do kind of thing.
No, that's very interesting because the nonprofit I work for works with adults with intellectual disabilities, but started as a company that worked with unwed mothers, like
Okay.
housing unwed mothers.
Okay.
Because the thought was exactly what you said. Who's going to take you?
Right.
You are a quote-unquote used woman. Well, I think I agree with you about the reporting, that it's just a lot of it. I mean, a woman was supposed to go to a police department and say, my husband, sexually assaulted me in the 40s or whatever.
Right.
I doubt that that's something that
Would have been taken seriously.
Yeah.
And I think when I think about what feminism has done for women, their ability to realize things that aren't okay. I mean, talking about safety and women continue on that vein, I think there's a great YouTube video that maybe we can put in the link below that is a woman walking around New York for 10 hours. And it's a measure, she has cameras on, I think just behind her, I think someone's walking sort of close to her, behind her, to see what
10
happens.
paces back or whatever.
Yeah, and it's the amount of cat calls she gets, and it's truly every minute. It's on a minute by minute basis, and she's not dressed in any scandalous way. She's not overly universally attractive or anything. She's just a normal woman, a normal body, and she has everything from catcall after catcall to guys will walk next to her for a while and kind of say, "Hey, smile for me, smile for me." That's the whole. That makes me angry. The guys asking women to do certain things that they don't want to do, and leaders of the feminist movement and just bringing attention to these issues has allowed women to realize, hey, that's not okay. It's not okay to get catcalled, and it's not my job as a woman, or it's not the woman's job to dress differently because, oh, if you dress that way, then you'll get catcalled.
Yeah.
No, it's the fault of the catcaller. It's the fault of the rapist. It's no one ever did anything to get raped. No one ever did anything to get catcalled. There's no amount of clothes you wear or don't wear that makes you more guilty for something happening to you. You're never guilty for a choice that someone else makes that involves your body and your life and your mental space.
Right. Other than the time you and I were walking from the Bison game, and by the way, go Bison, congratulations, NDSU, FCS champions, 5 years in a row.
Funny you should ask. I was in Park Slope in Brooklyn during Pride Week in New York City. And
so it was still a man doing the catcalling?
It was still a man doing the catcalling. Actually, it's not appropriate for this video. I can't say what he said, but he said something very sexually aggressive towards me.
Yeah.
That was the only catcall I've really ever experienced. I didn't feel uncomfortable or unsafe. I probably chuckled at it and laughed at it. But I was walking on a dark street. It wasn't a crazily trafficked road, and I think I benefit from so many things that I don't realize that I benefit from. Being a 6'2", almost 200-pound guy, where it didn't really bother me that 4 guys in a car are yelling shit out a window at me. So I almost think my opinion doesn't matter in light of the conversation we're having about violence against women and catcalling. I don't think I'll ever know what it's like to be catcalled and to feel unsafe. I have the privilege to be able to avoid any area that I deem unsafe.
Yeah. I honestly, I can't think of a time, probably for the same reasons that you're talking about, where reasons being, I'm 6'2" and 300 pounds, so I got 100 pounds on you. But like walking anywhere, I don't feel unsafe. Like I feel uncomfortable.
Sure.
But never unsafe.
Sure.
I just feel like if somebody is going to mess with me, they're going to have a fight on their hands, and then if they succeed, then they've earned whatever they're taking from me. So yeah, I don't really feel unsafe. It's just like a confidence that I have. And so when I was thinking about what we're talking about today, like it was really difficult for me to put myself in those shoes, in those high heel Milanos.
Yep.
I cannot relate. I can attempt to empathize with it, I guess, and it would end up being more sympathize than empathize, just because I can't really fully understand what it's like, other than I know that I'm going to make my efforts to not be terrible and a part of the problem.
Right.
Don't yell at girls outside of out of cars or at them while they're on the street.
I'm totally guilty of that.
Go buy them dinner or something, or have them buy you dinner. Go on Tinder and set up some sort of date. And also, if you're on Tinder, don't say terrible things. All right, I think that's about it for today.
Yeah.
Okay, so join us next week, where we're going to talk about our history, where you have been since high school. And
where you have been since high school.
Yeah, exactly. And then kind of how our paths separated, but then came back. Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait.
Perfect. So if you want to talk to us on Twitter, you just have to go to
@overabottle, and if you want to email us, we have
overabottle@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it, subscribe,
right below.
possibly share it on Facebook and Twitter, and let's keep the conversation going.
All right, see you next week.
All right, bye.
Thanks.